Hey there, I'm Adam from Classroom Tech Tools, and I'm showing you this open source spreadsheet that I'm releasing to the public domain, which is very useful for cases where you have a rotating timetable and you want to input your lessons and what day is in your day schedule into your Google Calendar without having to manually do it one by one. And it's really great. I completely depend upon it, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from it, so I'm happy to release it to the open source community. Basically, just to give you an example of the problem I'm solving here is, for example, my school, like we have a Monday and it's a day 1, and so of course Friday's a day 5, and then we have a day 6 and a day 7 after that, and it'll be day 6 and 7 will be on the Monday. We also have a bunch of holidays, and so we have to compensate for that as well. For example, the next week as a holiday, so it's blank, and so it's on Monday you see the day 6, and then on Wednesday we go back to day 1 and it continues on. And so what I've done is this spreadsheet that I made, I've only entered these bits of information once. And by importing into the calendar, it knows how to do the math to make it rotating and how to indicate holidays and all of this other good stuff. All right, so I'm going to show you now the timetable, the spreadsheet itself. And this is just a starter. I'm on the Enter Timetable tab on the bottom. The way this works is that the teacher enters this information into this tab, this sheet here, and then when they're all done, they go to the Export tab, and they use the download as CSV, and then import the CSV into the Google Calendar. So here we are. So basically, the teacher, I'm pretending I have on day 1, I have on block 1 on day 1. The subject I have to enter is English because that's what I teach then. So there I am. I'm the teacher entering the data, and as you see, it's automatically filling in the information based on formulas. When I click on Export, just to show you how it all works, this is the individual days and that English class I just entered. This is sorted by date, and so when I scroll down, you can see where the English falls. It's doing it all automatically with very clever formulas, so it's really cool. So basically they do that. Okay, day 2, I teach block 3. And by the way, all these things are custom. You can have more than 7 days. You can have up to 14 days. You can have 3 days if you'd like. Whatever it is your rotating schedule is. And then I teach science then. I'm just making it up. And so like I go back to export, and it's showing me the science classes, which will then go into my Google Calendar, which is really awesome. All right, so what you can do is you go to the period section, and this is the admin side of it. So you have to share this whole sheet with each individual teacher, and you can close off these 2 tabs if you'd like. Because what this does is it lets you choose the period information and the start time and end time for each one of these periods. And this is the particular one that I have for my school. You can have any number of them. I put in 20 entries by default. I figure that's probably about enough. And so basically you set that up, and then you have to go to the dates. Now this is where the real magic happens. So let's go slowly through that. So basically, now that you understand what the end result is, you have to set it up from the beginning. So we're going from the beginning. You make a copy of this spreadsheet that I've shared with you, and you go to the dates tab with the idea that the teachers will go to you'll share this spreadsheet with them after it's all entered the settings and things, and then they go into the enter timetable section and then go to export. All right, so let's go to the dates. You go to your settings. You want to indicate when it's from until what day. So I've made this spreadsheet work for about a year, a calendar year, so there's enough space for all of those dates that are needed. You enter how many days of rotation you have. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 3, maybe it's up to 14. So mine's 7. So as you see, as I'm 7, so I'm going back to 7. And as you see, as I enter this day, these things are changing. They're being updated. Now, this from E on is just for display only. The formulas don't actually use those columns, but it does use these 2 here, is B and C. And what it's displaying here is the start date all the way to the end date, and then it shows you what day it is. And at the moment it's 2 because I manually enter 2 because that's when, for me, that's when it starts off day 2 on that first day. But normally it'd be 1, right? So when I hit 1, I hit return. You see everything gets updated right there. So let's just go back, right? 2, right? So next one's 3, next one's 4, next one, so on and so on. And everything else gets automatically updated. I go 1, and that's updated. I go back to my export just to see it's all updating there too. So this is some very clever formulas. So now that you've entered the basic information like that, you can, if you want, if you live in the Middle East and you begin on a different day, you'll see that this sequence here will update if I change this to Sunday, which will change the report here of what day it is on and everything else. Like again, some very clever formulas going on here. Okay, so that's basically how you set it up. And you're not done because you're going to have holidays and stuff, and there's no way to, in a previous version I had a column where I entered the holidays. I actually found it easier if I just go in here, manually sort of, okay, like there's a holiday on the 21st, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, don't go to school on that Monday. That Monday is a holiday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this date to the 22nd because we don't have school on the 21st. We have school on the 22nd. I hit return, and you see that the one below it went up by 1, and everything compensated. So that's how I entered the holidays. Just go back, right? So I started here, and it's supposed to be a day 4, but we don't have school on Monday, so I hit 1/22/2019, return, and this will update to that's a Tuesday, and it's a day 4, and everything else follows. That's really cool. Really happy with that. And so basically, you just go through it, adjust these dates so that it gets populated automatically. And there might be also a case where your school may have like a specific, for whatever reason, you skip a day. Schools are a complicated beast sometimes, right? And for some reason, you go back to day 1 here, for whatever. So you just hit 1, and it will all follow as well. Pretty cool. So you've set it up, you share it out with the teachers, they make a copy, assuming that you've protected these 2 tabs because you don't want them messing around with that. They enter this information here, then they go to export and they download the CSV. So they just download the CSV and it goes to their computer and they go back and then they go to their calendar. And what the best practice is to make a new calendar to test it with. So I call it test. Create the calendar. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that information I just entered into populate that into the test calendar, and then when I'm happy with it, I can put it into my real calendar. So I go to add import, and I'm importing from CSV. So I just want to get that CSV that I just got. Now here's the tricky part. If I hit import now, it will go directly into my calendar for real. My default calendar, which in Google is your name, and that's not what I want to test it first because you never know. I mean, there's, you want to call it, maybe you change the name or something, and so you want to test it first by adding it to a testing calendar, and eventually we'll come up with how many events it added. And then I want to kind of go back out, identify my test calendar, display only this one, and then I can see that I can check and make sure everything's right. And so it's pretty cool. I love it every time it happens. And so that's how it works. And so I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, let me know how it goes. ClassroomTechTools.com. Hey.